walked up. I'm sorry, where the guy is, the gold spray can. He just walked up, started spraying it, and everybody jumped in.
This is what happens. This is what happens when you with proud Americans. You get your beat. Look at this little crying like a little being held. I want my mommy. Well, maybe next time you don't go down to a memorial and try to spray paint and be disrespectful. This is what you get. When will you guys learn? I think somebody maced him. And then he's got these two women here holding him like a little baby.
Literally.
If there's a memorial, even if you disagree with the person, don't do anything to it. You know, somebody taught me you shouldn't attack people that can't defend themselves. That's why we don't speak ill of the dead. But some people don't follow these moral points. And now I'm going to show you content creators and how they cover this. A big content creator, Abba and Preach.
Free speech, and then there's hate speech. And there is no place, especially now, especially after what happened to Charlie, in our society.
Do you see more law enforcement going after?
I couldn't believe.
Who said that?
Literally, this is what we started when we were in 2016. We were talking about stuff.
Yeah.
We were talking about, lefty spaces and cultural appropriation. Like, this was the kind of shit I would hear from those crazy motherfuckers.
Yeah.
And now it's like in the highest form of government, and they're saying hate speech is not free speech. Well, who defines what's hate speech? I'm having deja vu.
So I'm not sure who they're comparing it, but I think they might be comparing it what happened with Kevin Hart. They found out he did a joke about almost 10 years ago or something like that about his son being gay, that he would beat him up. And cancel culture was very active. They wanted him to apologize. He didn't. And I'm thinking, why are you comparing cancel culture of the past, that you say the wrong gender, something about women, immigrants or whatever, to somebody that passed away for comments that people are now cheating online?
The amount of people complaining that they're losing their jobs because they went on the internet and celebrated the death of Charlie Kirk and are now being reprimanded for their actions and losing their jobs is insane. If it ain't the consequences of your own actions, you just celebrated a man's death and you're upset you lost your job?
So this woman on the right is a suicide prevention follow-up coordinator, mocking the death of Charlie. Wow. One of the top comments is, oh my god, and they worked with kids. Who hires these people?
They either don't know, or they're either people that think the same.
Do you see more law enforcement going after these groups who are using hate speech and putting cuffs on people, so we show them that some action is better than no action?
We will absolutely target you, go after you, if you are targeting anyone with hate speech.
Okay. That was crazy.
It's crazy because you're saying that because you're protecting Charlie, but Charlie was doing that. It's just not your people against your people, so you're okay with it. By your standard, by what you're saying, Charlie should have been in jail.
They're inciting. You're telling me that somebody that is sending message like a ninja in a code, that maybe you need to pop somebody. You don't consider that hate speech? You think we just want to silence words because you hurt a feeling? No, they're suggesting it.
If you chat shit, you will get banned. Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk, you piece of shit.
Yo, real quick. At no point during yesterday's show was Charlie Kirk's death celebrated. At no point whatsoever.
Well, what if a radical, crazy person gets into office on the left side and says that if you don't identify a trans person by the proper pronouns, that's hate speech? What then?
They were doing that during Biden already. So what do you mean?
A former Virginia teacher is filing a lawsuit saying he was wrongfully fired for refusing to use a male pronoun for a transgender student. In 2018, a student at West Point High School started identifying as male. He and his mother asked for him to be referred to with his preferred name and preferred pronouns, he, him, and his. The French teacher, Peter Vlaming, says he couldn't, quote, in good conscience, comply, citing religious beliefs. According to his complaint, Vlaming consistently used the student's preferred male name and then attempted to avoid use of any pronouns at all. The school, according to the lawsuit, gave the teacher an ultimatum: use the student's preferred pronouns or lose your job. Vlaming was ultimately fired after he refused to use the male pronouns and for repeatedly ignoring orders from his bosses. A spokeswoman for West Point Public Schools told CNN in a statement that its board denies any wrongdoing.
That would mean at the end of Trump's second term, this was already normal. and it got even worse under Biden. That's what I believe. Remember to subscribe.
Now, shout out to at least, Megyn Kelly here. I saw a couple other conservative creators who are actually speaking out against this because we all should.
There's no sentence that Charlie Kirk would have objected to more than that.
Hate speech does not exist legally in America. There's ugly speech, there's gross speech, there's evil speech, and all of it is protected by the First Amendment. Keep America free.
Okay, and this is like the point where I feel I'm back in 2015. I'm hearing throwback lines I haven't heard in almost a decade, or that haven't been popular. And now they're being ushered by the Attorney General, which is pretty much the highest point you could be for the law. And I'm just like, it's up there. And when I'm like, and it's coming from a conservative person, I'm like, there's no way this is real. Listen to this.
I'm feeling throwback, but from the opposite side. Usually back in the days, the conservative people were saying like, hey, we can't say anything no more. But now, is more liberal people are saying like, we can't say nothing no more.
Yeah.
That's the troll.
And if you profit off of hate, if you act as a megaphone for misinformation or cyber warfare, if you don't police your platforms, we are going to hold you accountable.
I think we need to push back on this. There's no guarantee to free speech on misinformation or hate speech, and especially around our democracy.
But I also think there are Americans who are engaged in this kind of propaganda. And whether they should be civilly or even in some cases criminally charged is something that would be a better deterrent.
You make it sound as if people in power on the left side has not been calling certain things and suddenly, oh, we need to turn it down because supposedly a conservative that went to a college school become a little left-leaning, try to protect the left-leaning things that they call out. He actually held a gun and did something about it. And now we need to be careful and we need to tone it down on both sides.
So we're talking about this political violence thing. We have got to get back to the decency.
You get up in the morning and you doom scroll through things, and although I will say this, the last few days you woke up thinking there might be news. Just saying. There will be news sometime, just so you know, there will be news.
Trump was shot in the ear on July 13, 2024. Tim Walz said this on 1st of September 2025. And I'm like, I'm not saying that you're suggesting something, but if you say something like that, I would not be very happy. I might think you meant that, but I can also hope not. But if something happened very bad to my daughter, and my daughter's ex-boyfriend said that thing about my daughter, maybe a half year later, I would not be very happy with my daughter's ex-boyfriend. And I think most people would agree. He might be wrong, but it might be suspicious. And somebody that really doesn't like you might consider something. People that were celebrating cancel culture as if it's, oh my God, are so happy back in the day. But when it happened to Jimmy Kimmel, oh, it's not fair.
So it was for the journeyman cable news host Tucker Carlson, just fired from his third network. There are only 3. That's something we believe is a record. Now, his success, to the extent it existed at Fox News, flowed from, and it was an example of, the precisely same attitude, right? He believed he could say anything, no matter how vile, no matter how disgusting, no matter how offensive, no matter how dehumanizing or belittling. Now, sometimes, and I think actually often in the age of Trump, in this age we're living in, it does feel like people like that just kind of get away with it, right? I mean, we all have to ask ourselves this question, a profound one about the world. Is there any cosmic justice, karma, or is the universe just uncaring? People could just do horrible things and be fine. And one end of the spectrum of answers is just that, no, there is no such a thing as justice. And nothing matters, right? There's no accountability. No matter how terribly Donald Trump behaves, how awful the things Tucker Carlson says on air, there's no comeuppance. And I want to say, that's not really true. If you say a lot of terrible things, and if you act like a sociopath over and over and over and over, you will become unpopular on the national stage. That's just like a basic principle. And again, I don't think this is a searing insight, but we have seen that happen to Donald Trump. He is not popular. If you are a sexist, bigoted bully who runs around calling women the C word, well, I don't know, over time, probably not going to work out well for you in the long run.
That was in April 25, 2023. And now it's September 17, 2025. What is he saying now for Jimmy Kimmel, who said some weird joke?
He made the announcement Kimmel would indeed be taken off the air indefinitely. And this is just the latest chapter in Donald Trump's ongoing campaign to crack down on indeed be. ABC made the announcement Kimmel would indeed be taken off the air indefinitely. And this is just the latest chapter in Donald Trump's ongoing campaign to crack down on free speech, dominate the media, and essentially render the First Amendment meaningless.
You did it before because you wanted to care. We are doing it supposedly because your message is promoting for other people to think something is normal and somebody might pass away. It's always, I'm not condoning violence, but the but is so dehumanizing in a way. I can understand you, but I can still understand why they did that to you. But clearly I'm not going to defend it. I just said I understand you. But
and look, I said it before, right? I'll say it right now. I'm for people losing their job. If you want to post swastika and you want to say a bunch of rape or celebrate people dying and saying it's fucking, lose your job. You're a fucking idiot. Don't post that shit online, dummy. With that in mind, that's completely different. When the Attorney General is talking about bringing the weight of the law in arresting you, I might fire you, but I'll fight for the fact that you should never go to jail for what you say. By sending them to jail? Nah. This is where you start going Looney Tunes.
Everybody's a snowflake.
Yeah.
This is a snowstorm.
But anything you do, if somebody goes do something bad and it gives them a reason to do it and they would be happy if they watched that video.
You have our admiration, we might make a national holiday out of you. And I will definitely put money on your books. And if you're into this sort of thing, I'll write you some letters of the naughty sort, should you find yourself behind bars for it. But we're all rooting for you and hoping that you do it quickly and get away with it. Power to the people.
Really, it was actually his fault because, like, ding dong, the witch is dead. To everyone saying that it was such a senseless, violent act. I want you to remind yourself that it was God's plan. I mean, really, it was actually his fault because, like, he should have been wearing, like, a bulletproof neck brace or something. Like, I cannot believe he walked out the house without it. I mean, really, you have to be aware of what you're wearing in public so that, like, people don't target you. And you don't become a victim. So I guess this is just another example of God's plan in action. It was not a senseless act of violence. This was God's plan. Happy hump day, y'all.
Yeah, I think that's dangerous content. You know, I won't call it hate speech. It's just dangerous content because anybody that disagrees with this person, they might get attacked, right?
This kid who murdered Charlie Kirk is anything other than one of them.
From all the messages, it looks like it's pretty clear that this is very politically motivated.
Yeah.
But you have the right to say stupid shit. Like, people are acting like his cancellation was super deserved for this specifically. And in my head, I'm like, if you think someone deserves, everybody should be fired on that. You know how many people make wrong takes or make some stupid fucking take? This wasn't even that.
I think they're always missing content. They don't know what's happening on TikTok, I would presume, because if they knew, they would never let a voice for that team have such a message online. Especially if it was right-winger, because that's how Tucker Carlson got cancelled. Even if nobody was passing away. That was too dangerous too, remember?
Every time we allow somebody to be incredibly corrupt because it benefits us, when the shoe's on the other foot, it'll be too late because you already tied the shoelaces on the other one. And bitch, no one walking out with one shoe. This is ABC, right? That means that anybody online has no chance. If the FCC comes for YouTube or the FCC comes from any of these social media platforms and applies a little pressure, your channel's getting banned within...
And I'm like, hey, bully, you bullied me first, so you're now the official bully, so you better not bully me back. You already normalized it on the left. So the bully you're talking about, oh man, you're the one that ties the first shoe. No, that's disingenuous. You did it first. Not the right. You did it first. It makes no sense.
The only way this country moves forward into a better world is when conservatives can finally realize that they need to turn the temperature down on their side. We are 10 years into whatever this Trump madness is, and there is not a single mainstream conservative that will call for a lowering of the temperature on their side. I think that liberals need to wake up and finally realize that if they're not willing to do it, it will never come down. If you wanted Charlie Kirk to be alive, Donald Trump shouldn't have been president for the second term.
And while I can understand Abba, I can understand why it's like, yo, nobody can say anything online and there might be an issue. Yes, that's why it's happening to Destiny. That's why they canceled his Twitch. And now even YouTube is considering canceling him because he said that on Piers Morgan.
I feel like my YouTube is going to get permabanned soon because I got like broad demonetized yesterday for that I didn't even cite a video. So I don't know. I'll appeal it. We'll see what happens. But I mean, if Kimmel is getting canceled from ABC, I don't know.
And what did Destiny say? At a time when things are so heated already, he just amped it up. The government doesn't care if you're left or right, but when people are dying and you keep amping it up, the taxpayers might get shot. The government doesn't like that at all, if you're left or right.
If you do a campaign to get somebody fired for things that they said by contacting their employer,
yeah, it's cancel culture.
That's cancel culture, right? I've come to accept that everybody is for cancel culture. You've heard all levels of politician. You've heard people on the right, left, saying these people should lose their job for celebrating. I'm like, okay. But then there's people who get fired just for saying, I don't like the guy. There's some people who they made a post quoting some of the horrible things that they felt Charlie said, and they also got fired. And people contacted their job. Libs of TikTok made a post. This police officer basically said, you listen, and even though I don't wish him harm or whatever, I'm not going to sit here and mourn his death. Is that a fireable thing? It is today.
I think it is today because we have normalized that words are violence. And that didn't come from the right. That came from the left. So the moment you normalize that and the right decided, you know what, I should have freedom of speech, even if you think word is violence, now certain people justify that they can do something about it. So the fact that somebody can do something about it, you normalize that people are now afraid that their word is violence. What did you think that's going to happen? They're going to say, we're going to fight good with evil.
Fuck Charlie Kirk! Fuck Charlie Kirk! Fuck Charlie Kirk! Fuck Charlie Kirk! Racist bastard! Racist bastard! Piss on your ashes! Piss on your ashes! Spit on your grave! Spit on your grave! I'll never be a slave! I'll never be a slave!
You thought they're going to use gun. They're like, no, we're going to use laws and tell the companies, hey man, are you sure you want to associate yourself with this person? Because people are afraid that if they have a specific value and you tell them their value reproduce words that is violence, and you have people on your side that can justify, I can pop you, I don't even consider that a hate crime. But I would consider it like dangerous content that you might incentivize violence in a very passive aggressive way that you will never be accountable for because you understand why I'm angry, but
they changed, maybe I changed. Is everyone going crazy or am I going crazy? I don't know. All I know is it is clear how they reacted to this is how they would react to me, my family, my friends, you, your family, your friends, that have ever stepped out of line from the nebulous, ever-changing definition of progressive. These are people I thought were level-headed. They were left-wing, but you know, like they were one of the good ones. Like, you can joke with them, you know, they weren't those like woke SJWs, like they were cool, we can disagree and still be friends. You know, your friend wouldn't celebrate you being murdered, of course. But if they would celebrate an exact clone of you that wasn't you, that had all the same opinions, or some of the opinions that you have, if they would celebrate that clone being murdered, they're not your friend. I'm friends with people who are friends with Charlie, and I see how they are completely broken about this. Seeing them like this, and then at the same time my other friends posting shit like, "Rip bozo." It's just sick. It's just sick shit.
And that is shoe on head. Just a liberal with a few conservative views. And in her head is like, if I have some conservative views that might be violence one day and I got popped, I'm not even sure those friends are going to be like, oh, poor Shoe on Head. No, it's going to be Shoe on Head is a good person, but
don't get me wrong, makosa kita bong. Put the fire na mi blonde, kush, hash, purple, skunk, criollo, colombici, jam, jam, turlo, que ta verde, ta welcome.